points, 3 rebounds, with only a couple of turnovers and assists. But Brandon Miller, he is a certain showstopper. He was in his bag in the first half. The game seemed to come easy to him, and as it came easy to him, his teammates continued to elevate. But it always boils down not about the threes, which Alabama was 5 or 8, but their ability to get into the paint. That breaks down the defense of Ole Miss. They were +10 in that area, and that's the reason why they have a lead.
Obvious adjustments needed for Ole Miss, and for more on that, let's check in with Alyssa.
Guys, I talked to Kermit Davis and asked him what he told his team at the half. He said, well, we had a lot of the same type of shots that they did. The Rebels actually attempting more in that first half. So he feels like offensively, this should be a closer game. Defensively, he said we have to guard better, but encouraged his guys to come out fast, keep taking shots, win the first media timeout right now, sitting at 29%, 13 from 3, guys.
Turnovers a little bit of an issue in the first half. 7 of them for Ole Miss, and just 2 of 15 from downtown. Matthew Morrell, their talented scorer, held to just 2 points. Bama with the basketball first here in the second half. Jaden Bradley, talented freshman out of Rochester, New York, gliding into the paint, fires it off the glass, no good.
Yeah, not a great first possession, really just Bradley's hand. The first, or in his hand, the entire offensive possession. Ball didn't change sides of the floor. Good opportunity for Ole Miss, though, to get some momentum going here in the second half.
This Alabama team, we talked so much about the talented freshman Brandon Miller. He's not the only young player for Alabama. Look at the starting 5. You have 3 19-year-olds, 2 20-year-olds. So not only are they off to a terrific start, there is a lot of youth that you would assume would only get better and more polished as the season moves along. Ole Miss, some more veterans on their squad, particularly through the portal. And there is one of them, and Akuba, a senior transfer out of Louisiana, the former Sun Belt Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, Theo Akuba really showed signs in that Tennessee game from a defensive and rebounding standpoint. But this is the end where Ole Miss can't seem to get Alabama under control. They can't seem to get a stop.
And 1 for Bradley there. McDonald's All-American, consensus 5-star prospect out of the IMG Academy, 6'3", 200 pounds. And what that does with the emergence of Bradley, we've talked about Mark Sears, it takes the pressure off Javon Quinterly getting back in a hurry.
Sure.
They can kind of ease him in game by game, week by week.
Well, and I also look at the size, because as you want to go deep in March, and that's a question I have with Tennessee. Zakai Ziegler, Santiago Vescovi, who are terrific guards, but don't have as much size as Alabama. Alabama's got phenomenal length. So when you have switches, as you go deeper into March Madness, being able to rebound from the guard position is critical.
Well, there's some of that length you're talking about. Brandon Miller on that rejection. I mean, they have scary length. It's 1 through 5. They really have terrific length. And if you go specifically in the front court, just have so many guys in that 6'8" to 6'10" range that can alter shots, get in passing lanes.
But they still have to make sure that they use that length. It comes easy to them, so sometimes they're not as aggressive defensively as I think they should be.
Caldwell with a desperation heave at the buzzer, and not a good possession that time for Ole Miss.
And you notice what he did? Now, obviously, the shot clock was going down, but he faded away. The more the length and athleticism, the more you have to get into their body, into their chest. You fade away, and it gives the defense the advantage.
Clowney is 6'10". Bediako right there, a 7-footer. And of course, Miller 6'9". A lot of length in that Bama front court. Morrell has been quiet. That's the kind of shot that actually Kermit will be much more happy. He wants him to attack the rim more, not settle for just jumpers. Baseline drive, and a foul drawn by Bradley.
Now, this is something simple, Mike, but the difference between those two drives, Matthew Morrell, even though he drove to the basket, he shied away from the contact.
Right.
Bradley, when he went to the baseline, he actually goes into the defense and then bounces off to try to make the shot.
More of what you're talking about here, Fish.
Well, yeah, and this is Matthew Morrell right there, and he just tries to lay it up real quickly. Gather yourself if you're Matthew Morrell. Don't shy away from the contact. Go into the defense. That way you can try to at least get a foul call and potentially get an and one.
And that's something that Kermit Davis talked about with us at shoot-around. He wants Matthew Morrell to have a little more alpha dog. He's got the body, the athleticism, where he can make more and take more shots at the rim.
Yeah, 6'4", 200 pounds. He can control the game from the free throw line.
Offensive rebound for the Rebels. They have improved dramatically in that category this year. Open three, tap out, and another offensive rebound. That'll be a foul on Miller. A great hustle on the offensive glass by this Rebels team that came in +5 on the glass for the season.
Well, you think about who's playing well for the Rebels, and Jamin Brayfield obviously comes to your mind. Out of Jackson, Mississippi, the transfer from Duke, 18 points, 4 rebounds last game, 4-4 from the three-point line. He's one of the key cogs. And so the question that Coach Kermit Davis has and his staff, who else can we count on consistently night in and night out? That's what they're trying to figure out.
Morrell up top, guarded by Sears. Morrell muscles his way
There
in,
you
and
go.
again, that's exactly what we were just talking about.
Yeah. 6'4", 200 pounds. I'm bigger than you. I'm stronger than you. I'm going to go where I want to go on the floor and make you pay like Brandon Miller just did.
Meanwhile, Brandon Miller just doing Brandon Miller things. You want inside, outside, an alley-oop, a three, take your pick.
And the answer to Pat Bradley's question is you cannot allow him space. You've got to get underneath a guy like that, make him uncomfortable, you know, and you've got to do it without fouling. But you can't, if you allow him space, that's what he's doing tonight is what he's going to display all year long.
One of the things I love most about Brandon Miller's game, and you and I doing SEC games over the years, especially the last few years, we see talented freshmen year after year. McDonald's All-Americans just littered all over the Southeastern Conference. But sometimes some of the great freshmen, it seems like they force the game. Brandon Miller lets the game come to him.
He really does. And at times, potentially too much. It's almost like in that Gonzaga game where I think he really just went off, and he did as well in the Michigan State game a little bit earlier. But he doesn't want to have to do this. He just does that if he sees that his teammates really need them.
Gonzaga and UConn, the only 2 losses on Alabama's resume. When you think about it, an 11-2 record, a strength of schedule that is off the charts good when you add in Houston, North Carolina, Michigan State, Memphis. They shy away from nobody. So they are battle-tested going into league play for sure. And trying to make it 2-0 in the Southeastern Conference with a win tonight. Miller feeling it. That one line drives. Offensive rebound, blocked from behind, and out of bounds. It'll be Ole Miss basketball.
That was a nice quick hitter, though, by Coach Nato. It's a quick fade screen. A lot of coaches should have called in a lot of plays. Just use quick hitters to get their best players or their better players shots in the area where they can succeed.
Ruffin, the most decorated high school prospect ever to commit to Ole Miss, or McDonald's All-American. And it's a Kuba having that one rim off, but a foul in the process. He'll go to the line for a pair. Well, next Thursday, you can join us for a women's basketball doubleheader. First, it's number 7, LSU. Hey, LSU's 14-0. They'll take on Mizzou and Como, and then Tennessee, led by Rakia Jackson, averaging over 17 points a game. They're at Texas A&M. Coverage beginning at 7 Eastern, right here on the SEC Network. With Damian Fishback and Alyssa Lang, I am Mike Morgan. Hope you're doing well on this Tuesday night. 7th-ranked Alabama putting on a display in the first half and trying to hold on for their 12th win of the year. Bradley slicing, dicing, inside. Bediako rejected at the rim by Akuba. Rebels in transition. It's Fagan. Left it short, and a foul on the floor against Alabama.
Ron Gruber blew the whistle a little late, but I think it was the correct call. And that's what you got to have if you're the Rebels. You got to take advantage before this long, athletic defense of Alabama has a chance to set up, particularly in transition.
But one thing Ole Miss has done well tonight against the top rebounding team in America, as Morrell pulls a trigger on a three, that one rims off. But the Rebels are actually +5 on the glass against Bama. That's a credit to their improvement rebounding the ball, but every other category tonight has belonged to the Tide.
Well, and just to be frank, Rebels are doing a lot more missing. Rebels are doing a lot more missing than Alabama tonight as well.
That's always a
but
factor.
at least they're competing to go to the glass and get those missed opportunities. You know, you got to break this down into 4-minute segments if you're if you're the Ole Miss Rebels and the Crimson Tide, really, because they're trying to continue to get better regardless of the score.
Rebels need some stops right about now. There's one. Morrell tears away the rebound for the freshman Miller. Fagan into the corner. It's Brakefield. Ruffin splits a double and dribbled it off his leg. Bam on the other end, wheeling, dealing, no dice.
But see, even right now, on the change of possession, the Rebels, Deshaun Ruffin was open 5 minutes ago, but Alabama's been allowed to get their defense back in position. The one thing I saw with Gonzaga is they got out quick before the defense of Alabama was able to get set up. That's what the Rebels have to do.
Reach-in foul on Brakefield will bring us to a timeout. 15:31 to play. Tied on top. Georgia Bulldogs Monday at 7:30 p.m. He's Damian Fishback. I'm Mike Morgan. Alyssa Lang. We've got all three here ready to make some bold predictions. You got fish facts? You got a fish fact on this one?
Well, you know, I'm trying to figure. Oh, come on, man. You know I'm going with these Bulldogs. That's right. Too physical, too strong. This is actually the first time I put these on, Mike.
Yeah.
Can you tell?
I don't know if War Eagle Nation's going to love that.
I'm going with Georgia Bulldogs.
All right, so I'm wearing TCU purple, but I got the team that I predicted at the beginning of the year, my friends. I'm going Georgia. Big Dogs. Girl in green, what do you have?
Well, guys, I'm really close to a lot of Alabama fans, so I don't feel like it's a smart move to put on Georgia eye black, but I'm going with the Dogs as well. I may or may not have picked against them in the Tennessee game this past year, and then they beat Tennessee handily, and I said I'm never picking against the Dogs again, so Georgia all the way.
There you have it. It's unanimous. Look, I in all seriousness, I know we're on the SEC Network. I'd love to see a close game. I think that Coach Dykes has done the best coaching job of anybody in the country. I love the TCU story. I just think Stetson Bennett, Brock Bowers, and that defense will be too much in this one. Alabama has been too much thus far for Ole Miss. 52-30 to score. And Fish, as you mentioned, you got to get it back, chip away, 4-minute segments. You're not going to go on a 22-0 run anytime soon.
Well, to the defense of the Ole Miss Rebels, they did play Tennessee.
Yeah.
And now they're playing Alabama. What you want to do, though, is you want to take strides in the right direction. You want to make sure you're getting better in every single basketball game and practice. And that's what Coach Kermit Davis is trying to look for from his team tonight.
Right. Yeah, starting off with two of the top teams in the country. That's a heck of a 1-2 punch to ease into conference play. Fagan, former Georgia Bulldog, with a teardrop.
Like that rebound by Brandon Miller. See, that's what you talked about the freshmen. That's the upside. They can get much better on the glass and defensive rebound.
That's a great sign for Bama as well. If you can get Javon Quinterly, get his confidence back, look out. Mid-range jumper for Brakefield.
Solid assassin. Amongst this, Rebel team that is being outplayed in basically every facet of the game right now, Jamin Brakefield on his own is doing everything that he can.
As you mentioned, he had the big game against Tennessee. That game came down to the wire. Ole Miss really gave the Volunteers a scare, led by double digits in the second half. Ruffin on a blow by. Ruffin, that is the Deshaun Ruffin that earned him McDonald's All-American honors, a prized recruit, and a good-looking sign of maybe what he is going to turn back to.
So the goal right now for the Rebels is try to get this thing to under 10, you know, with maybe 5 minutes left to go to see if you can put some game pressure on Alabama.
Miller goes to work. Probes the baseline. And might have stepped out of bounds. He walked.
Deshaun Ruffin. This is the Deshaun Ruffin of the old. Nice hesitation, and he uses the rim as protection against the long, outstretched arms of Brandon Miller.
I'm going to throw a comp your way.
Okay.
Go back a few years, but at the same build as Deshaun, and when Deshaun is healthy, the same type of explosiveness. Devin Downey.
Ooh, I like that.
Devin Downey, an all-conference guard, South Carolina, was a really good player.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
I think that's a great comparison.
Same size. Baseline jumper off the back iron, and a foul whistled against Ole Miss. That'll go against Ewan.
So this is a great lesson for, in particularly, college basketball teams. And listen, if you're in the pros and you're Steph Curry, you miss 8, you might make your next 8 and be 50% on the night. When the ball's just not going down, don't just keep shooting it all night long. Try to get you something a little bit closer to the basket to just get that stroke a little bit better and gain your confidence.
Winterly, that's a heat check, step back 3. Caldwell, nice feed to the slashing Brakefield.
And that all stemmed from the quick shot from Javon Quinterly.
Brakefield now with 12, another good performance in conference play. Bama's become a little 3-ball happy. I don't think Nate Oates liked that shot by Gurley.
Yeah, they're comfortable right now. A little nonchalant opportunity for the Rebels to try to get back in this basketball game.
6-0 run for Ole Miss. And an offensive foul.
Well, at times you take an ill-advised shot. It's usually the first pass to the opposing team's offensive transition basket. Very similar by Jermaine Brakefield with this slam here on the road.
17 fouls now on Ole Miss, so Bama in the bonus for the final 12 and a half minutes. Kentucky winning a nail-biter tonight at Rupp Arena against LSU. I like Matt McMahon's squad. I had them in the win against Arkansas.
Yep.
It's a big win for Kentucky, obviously. Fish, you and I continue to kind of try to sort this league out. We know it's another deep SEC. We know there's some exceptional teams at the top. It's the middle, to me, that's still a mystery.
Well, I said this earlier. I think it's the middle and the bottom part of the SEC that's the most underrated. Coming into the year, there were all top 25 teams. Kentucky, Tennessee, Arkansas, Alabama, Auburn. You know, Auburn, by the way, I think one of 10 teams that actually was in the top 25 for the entire year of 2022. Something I know Coach Bruce Pearl wanted to do. But it's the bottom of the league that I think people missed out on. I went to see Coach Jans and how he was practicing, Coach Dennis Gates, and realizing the wars and battles they went through at Florida State with Leonard Hamilton and the success he had at Cleveland State. Those are the teams, and you mentioned LSU, that people aren't giving credit to.
And I think LSU is going to be a tough out the rest of the way. And let's not forget, it wasn't just the win over Kentucky from Missouri. They blew out Illinois on a neutral floor. Nice take by Ruffin. Break zone here at Coleman Coliseum. Strong drive, count the basket, and the foul for Jaden Bradley. Hard to slow down this Alabama offense.
No, you're not going to slow it down. And with all these multiple weapons, Jaden Bradley, a little Chris Paul-ish with the nice English off the glass.
Tight end for the Alabama Crimson Tide back in 1991. 6'4" tight end. Son got a little more height at 6'9". And again, as I mentioned in the first half, that is how Brandon Miller became an Alabama fan. He was a fan of Alabama football when his dad was there, and even long after that, they would travel to Tuscaloosa from the home state of Tennessee to catch Alabama games at Bryant-Denny Stadium. And when the recruiting process came and Nate Oates found that little nugget out, he said, "I got a scholarship for you, young man."
Yeah. Well, kudos to both he and Yolanda. Did a great job. And the fact of the matter is a lot of people don't realize the work that goes in to Brandon Miller getting here, right? You see him 1 year in college basketball, all the AAU trips, all the practices, dropping them off, traveling around the country. And that's one of the reasons why I love the fact that players are now participating in the NIL in regards to having an opportunity to get money off of some of the hard work that they've had.
James White into the game for Ole Miss. He flashed at times late last year, hoping to have a big sophomore campaign out of Conyers, Georgia. Back to Ruffin with 5 to shoot. Hounded by Bradley. Now 2, now 1 in the face of Miller. Altered that shot. And there was some jostling going on down low, and the foul is going to go against Bradley. He got tangled up with the much bigger Robert Allen.
Yeah, I think it's going to take a physical yet intelligent team to beat Alabama, right? You think about UConn. I thought they were more physical in that basketball game. And believe it or not, Gonzaga, who's not always known for being physical, I thought was the more physical team in Birmingham when they put up 100 points.
This is Sears weaving, and a reach-in foul on Mbala.
And like they say, guards win in March. It's really hard to find a better group of guards than a Mark Sears, a Javon Quinterly, right? A Jaden Bradley. It's just a good mixture of styles and skill sets and age.
And at times, Miller really plays like a guard, even at 6'9".
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he's got that all-court game that he could play the 1, he could play the 2. So you get so much versatility combined with really unspeakable length, the kind of length they haven't had during the Nate Oates era. Sure. You look at this entire roster, I mean, they're a problem. They're a matchup problem. "11 minutes to go. It's been all Alabama tonight." Driving, firing, missed it short. That was White, and there on the follow is Allen. Robert Allen, who was playing well for Ole Miss last year before he tore his ACL against Memphis, and that combined with the Ruffin injury really just handicapped anything that Ole Miss could do without a full roster.
Well, I still think this is one of Kermit Davis's deepest teams. I still think this is a team that can make a run in league play, and they're going to have opportunities. Let's be frank. They've played 2 teams who could reach the Final Four. Both Alabama and Tennessee could both end up in Houston. I thought they played well enough to beat Tennessee, but Tennessee was able to prevail, and man, did they show out tonight versus Mississippi State. Against Alabama, they just got hit with a buzzsaw tonight and hadn't been able to get to the other side.
Yeah, the tone was set early on in this game, and falling behind double digits, just tough to dig out of that hole against this Alabama squad.
I was hoping Brandon Miller would get it on the post that time, because I think that's a good opportunity for them to try to use his size against other guards.
Like to see him work a little high post?
Yeah, I'd like to see him get to that mid-post and be able to score from there, kind of like Phillips does from Tennessee sometimes. Another freshman in the SEC who I'm looking to see his upside.
Offensive foul. Mbala, a little too bullish in the paint. What do you make of Kentucky? I think Kentucky has been a fascinating storyline the last couple of years under John Calipari, and you know, another talented class for Cal, and you do have some veterans through the portal and what have you. at times you see it, like it's in there. Love Wallace, but what is hindering Kentucky overall in some of their losses?
Well, Kentucky's still trying to find their identity. Oscar, when he was in and out dealing with his knee, you think about Frederick going down in the game earlier at Missouri. That's a big difference. You can't act like he's not a huge piece of the puzzle.
Right.
And so you still have to give credit to Coach Dennis Gates in Missouri, but if Frederick's in that game, I don't think it's a blowout like it is in that particular game. They've got to get healthy, get all those pieces together, but I think most importantly, they have to get comfortable playing in a Kentucky jersey.
Yeah.
And that's not easy for everybody to do. It's a lot of pressure on those young kids, and the fans need to continue to support them.
You know what you're going to get with Sheboy. He's going to lead the league in rebounding. Wheeler could lead the league in assists again for a third time. But there's a lot of other question marks, and typically Cal teams with those freshmen get better over time. That'll be the challenge this year in Lexington.
I think the addition of Tyler Eulis was a great note and a great decision. Loved him as a player, and think he can help that team a lot.
3-on-2 for Bama. Here comes Bradley, fouled and almost an and one. He'll have a chance at the line for a pair.
Really good. 6'3", 200 pounds, but uses that 200-pound body. He always finds a way. I love guys who can get to the free throw line.
9 for 10 tonight from the line.
Whew. That's how you win basketball games.
13 points overall for the talented freshman. You see the balance. When you think of Nate Oates, you just think a lot of times of the three-pointers, but he'll tell you he loves points in the paint as much as any coach out there. They got 28 points in the paint tonight.
Yeah, the points in the paint, the layups, the free throws.
Right.
It's all part of his analytics, and it's something that has shown success in the SEC.
They don't have maybe a traditional post guy, a plotter. That's not really Bediako's game right now, but they'll get you points, layups, drives.
Sure.
That's where so much of those points come from in the paint. Foul call, and that's going to be on Miller. I believe that's his third. Nope, they'll give it to Bediako. That's his third, Alabama's 8th foul with 9:19 to play. And the lead has swelled to 27 right now for the Tide. Don't forget tomorrow night, doubleheader for you right here on the SEC Network. It all starts at 6:30 Eastern Time. Auburn and Georgia. And then we'll cap off the night with Missouri at Arkansas. Both games right here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. One thing I love about what Missouri has done with Coach Gates, they went to the portal, and rather than get guys from Power 5, Power 6 schools that maybe didn't do a whole lot or were unhappy for whatever reason, he went out and plugged transfers from mid-major schools, but they all were scorers. They were all extremely productive, and they've been scoring at a higher level now.
Yeah, two of the biggest pieces in a rebuild is, number one, establishing your culture. And so even if the guys may not be 5 stars, 4 stars, if they're older and know how to help establish their culture, then that's a huge step in your first year. And then second of all, I think it's the most underrated characteristic of coaches in college basketball today is the ability to evaluate talent. Throw the stars out, sit down and go into a gym and say, this guy can play, he can play for me in my system and help us win games, and I think that's what they did.
And Kobe Brown's been a rock for them. By the way, Abram just hit that last free throw with one contact in. The other one does not want to stay in the eye. I think a lot of people can relate to that. He'll settle for 1 for 2, but he's playing with one contact lens out there right now. Open 3. Ruffin Skies for the rebound. 26-point lead for the Tide. Inside, wheeling, dealing, and getting a nice jump hook shot is McInnes, the transfer from Jackson State.
The Jackson State transfer. Phenomenal length on the interior.
He was the top defender in the SWAC last year, relentless rebounder. Anything you get in the scoring column is just a bonus. Turnover. Alabama, Miller, look out. They'll just lay that one in.
Made a business decision.
Yeah, he did.
Too much money on the line.
That's right. He had Burrell breathe it down his back. You know what? I don't need to put on a display right now. 14 points for the freshman. Morrell hanging and hitting. That's what they want to see more of from the junior from Memphis, Tennessee. I tell you what the American public wants to see more of. Fishbacks. That's what we've got coming up next.
Academy Sports and Outdoors is here for everyone who loves to get out there and have some fun. And with the best brands in the game, we've got what you need to play your way. Shop on the app and pick up in-store today. Have fun out there with Academy Sports and Outdoors.
I'd like to thank our sponsor, Liberty Mutual. They customize your car insurance so you only pay for what you need. Contestants ready? Go! Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
The SEC and SEC Network thank our official corporate sponsors for their continued support of our student athletes during every championship season. Welcome to SEC Nation.
It feels great because we're home.
SEC Nation, we're coming your way right now.
Do you listen to the TV on high volume or have trouble hearing conversations? Then you would benefit from hearing aids. Don't waste thousands on expensive hearing aids when you can get Nano's revolutionary technology for just $297. Don't be fooled by higher-priced hearing aids. The CIC Recharge is a true hearing aid, not an amplifier. With rechargeable technology many customers say is superior to more expensive models. Call now and get not one, but 2 Nano hearing aids for just $297. Plus, we'll add a portable charging case and ship your order absolutely free. The CIC Recharge has a tiny in-the-ear canal design that is nearly invisible. Why keep missing out on important conversations or waste thousands of dollars? Call and get 2 CIC Recharge hearing aids for only $297 and free shipping.
800-256-2957. Again, that's 800-256-2957.
Alabama up big, 68-44. Our score here in the second half. Mike Morgan, Damian Fishback. It is time for the return of Fishbacks. Championships never go on sale, Fish. And as we look at the reigning 5 SEC champions, one of which, of course, the Alabama Crimson Tide, there seems to be a similar formula for everybody.
Yeah. I said championships never go on sale, right? Fact. And the teams that you're seeing to the left, they realize that, right? It always costs what it costs, just like greatness. And then when you think about the recipe, it's defending every possession. You have to win the rebounding war. You have to share and take care of the basketball. You have to continue to take quality shots. And no matter what, you have to stick together. And that's what teams who are trying to win a championship, not only SEC championship, but national championships, realize today, Mike.
And I like the last one on there, that kind of the intangible. It doesn't really show up in a box score necessarily. The toughness, the playing hard, as you mentioned, playing connected. That's either in your DNA or it's not.
Yeah.
And a lot of that comes down to players and their character and their overall work ethic and drive. And there's only so much a coach can do to help you out in that regard.
Yeah, and the fact of the matter is, you know, you think about other things that don't go on sale. I'm sure our partner Alyssa realizes this. It's like a Chanel bag or any other bags, right? Alyssa, they don't ever go on sale, do they?
I don't have any Chanel bag. I don't have Damian Fishback money, but I've been told that no, they don't go on sale.
Alyssa's blue collar now.
Hey, just like that money green jacket she's got on,
I've got
right? That
Chanel.
never goes on sale.
Fake Chanel, whatever Chanel is.
No, but it's intriguing because this time of the year, think about it. Everybody wants to win an SEC championship. so many teams across America want to win a national championship, but are you putting in the work? Because it's going to cost whatever it costs, whether it's the shots, whether it's the conditioning, the discipline, staying in shape, being consistent. And that's what teams like Alabama, Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, Auburn, Missouri, all of these teams are trying to focus on now.
Bucket by Morrell. I mentioned Alyssa Lang, blue collar. She doesn't need that high dollar, showy type of merchandise. And when you think of blue collar, Alabama has brought that. And I know, Alyssa, that's something that they preach and teach hard with Coach Oates.
Yeah, I know Tide fans are really familiar with this, but for those who aren't, they call it Bamalytics as part of their blue-collar mentality. And every single game, they chart blue-collar points. And there are 3 guys who actually sit here on the media row and count these as the game goes. It's a very important job. The highest game total player receives the hard hat at the end of each game. That hat sits in the locker room waiting for its next owner. Now, deflections, steals, blocks, rebounds, loose balls all count for 1 point. Offensive rebounds are worth 1.5 points. Floor dives are 2, and charges are worth 4 points. So the updated point totals are run over to Coach Nate Oates every time we have a timeout. He looks at them so he can keep track, make sure his guys are tracking for enough points by the end of each game. Just kind of part of that blue-collar basketball that has made this program so successful under Coach Oates. They got a printer set up here and everything, guys. They're getting those numbers to him every single timeout.
Yeah, and Nate Oates he was bragging about that at shoot-around today. He loves his analytical team. They grind. It's like Silicon Valley with the coding guys just sit there on a laptop for 24 hours straight. By the way, Noah Clowney leading the way in blue-collar points right now. Bediako is second and third. This is a great sign. Your talented freshman projected lottery pick, Brandon Miller, still giving you the hard work.
That's what you want. And speaking of hard work, it's been a lot of hard work, but the Rebels trying to edge their way, obviously down still 20 points, but they've been playing much better the last 2 to 3 minutes.
This is the last time Miller won. I mean, taking some shots right there. Easy now.
Oh, come on, man. Come on. You don't even pet your dog that hard, do you?
No.
What's your dog's name?
Baxter.
Baxter.
You remember Baxter?
Yeah, man.
Baxter was a star back in the home studio.
Baxter, a.k.a. the handsome lion. That's what I remember Baxter as.
I'm sure he's watching back at home, waiting for a biscuit as soon as Dad returns.
Did you get him a Christmas gift?
Oh, I got him several. Are you kidding me? That's the most pampered dog out there. Nothing blue collar about him. 71-52, Alabama. Ruffin, gliding, firing. Wow. Got the block call. His back was to the basket. He just flipped it up there and got the whistle.
That's actually pretty impressive that he even connected. And Coach Kermit Davis is really, he's saying, listen, I want you to focus on that instead of looking cute and doing a 360 and flipping it up in the air. He wants him to focus. He commented and gave him the 2-finger sign as to say, that's 2 points. We need those 2 points.
Absolutely. 11 points tonight for Ruffin out of Jackson, Mississippi, Callaway High School. The most highly decorated recruit in Ole Miss history, the first McDonald's All-American to sign in Oxford. A lot of expectations come with that, and when he was healthy last year, you could just see it coming together. He and Jarkel Joyner had a good thing going, and now when you talk to Kermit Davis, he says, I need Ruffin and Morrell to play like one of the best backcourts in this league.
Sure. Well, I think if you're Ole Miss, right, the ingredients, and Kermit Davis is trying to complete this, is getting transfers, highly talented freshmen, along with developing guys in your program, turning into a Terrence Davis. Noah Clowney right there again. But getting guys like that learn your program and stick there, and then you're older and you have a more veteran team at Ole Miss.
18 now for Clowney. Baseline leaner. Left it short that time. Did Caldwell. Caldwell, one of the 2 top 100 freshman recruits this year for Ole Miss. Abram the other. approaching the 5-minute mark of this game. Quick hands and a steal that time by Brakefield.
Yeah, a little careless and comfortable, and also good defense by the Rebels.
Brakefield somehow slithers his way inside and gets a methodical basket. 14 now for Brakefield.
Tell you what, a couple of quick baskets here. We talked about the Rebels trying to get it under 10 with less than 5 minutes left.
Let's take a look at tonight's Mayhem Moment, brought to you by Allstate.
Can you guess who it is? Well, you've seen him do work all night long. Behind the back, 2-4 and white, the old school give and go. This is where he goes to where other players for the Rebels uniform could not go. To the top floor of the elevator. Beautiful finish by Brandon Miller.
There will be some showtime this year at the Coleman Coliseum, headlined by that man. Not your typical explosion offensively for Miller. We haven't really needed it. And he, as I said earlier, he doesn't force it. Kind of lets the game come to him. Well, that would have been a news flash if Bediako knocked down a triple. He's 0 for 1 this year.
Nice pass.
And a good finish by Akuba. Ole Miss not quitting here. Down 15. Plenty of time left.
Gotta love this if you're the Rebels right now. Didn't give up. Didn't put your head down. Continuing to try to chip away.
Winterly tries to lob it down low. Bediako corrals it, 10 to shoot. Winterly on the drive. The pivot, the fire, rejected. And out of bounds with 2 on the shot clock. It will be Alabama basketball, but great job by Akuba. And a timeout, the final media timeout with 3:58 to go. Ole Miss still fighting.
Well, still fighting and trying to have a little block party of their own, but the Crimson Tide still up 15.
Every day I work hard and eat what's right for me. Isn't that right, Frank? Frank's my goat. No alarms tell me when to snack. Nice try, Kevin. I don't care about posts and likes. I mean, who am I like? Missed a spot. He always does. So my advice? Stop looking for advice. And if you want to grab a snack, grab a snack. Who's hungry?
Gatorade Fit. Fitness starts from the inside out. Get healthy, real hydration and no added sugar, artificial sweeteners, or added colors. Gatorade Fit. Healthy, real hydration today helps you fuel tomorrow.
New customers get our best deals on all smartphones.
That's right, but what if I'm already a customer?
Oh, no problem. Hey, Cam.
Huh.
Same deal.
Yeah.
It's kind of our thing.
What if I'm new to AT&T?
Cam, can...
Nice.
Hey, but what about for existing customers?
Same deal.
Is he okay? At AT&T, we give everyone our best deals on every smartphone. Get up to $1,000 off on our most popular smartphones with eligible trade-in.
73-58 our score with 3:58 to play here in Tuscaloosa with Alyssa Lang and Damian Fishback. Mike Morgan here on a Tuesday night and looking ahead for Alabama. Wow, I mean, that is a stretch. Kentucky, that'll be Saturday on ESPN. At Arkansas and a dangerous LSU squad before Vandy on the road, and then at Mizzou, who we've talked about, one of the better surprises, not just in the league, but in the country. So Alabama's going to find out just how good they are over the next couple weeks.
Yeah, well, you look at that Kentucky, and whenever Kentucky comes to town, it's always the biggest show in town. And then Arkansas, I'm anxious to see that game because Arkansas will match the length and then some of Alabama. So it'll be a lot of long athletic pros on the floor for that game. And the one towards the end in Missouri, I'm really anxious to see that one because of the style and the pace of play. Those two teams both like to get up and down the floor, both like to score, shoot the three, pressure. I'm anxious to see how they match up against one another.
We talked so much about a sensational freshman here tonight in Brandon Miller. For those that have not seen Arkansas yet, Anthony Black, the real deal. A 6'7" point guard that can do it all.
Sure. Nick Smith Jr., the real deal.
We're hoping he'll get back.
Yeah. Well, you hope he gets back on the court as well. But you're looking at top 2 and 3 recruiting classes. Arkansas and Alabama. Coach Musselman doing a great job as well. Oh, man.
40 plus.
Come on, man.
That's not right. 17 for the freshman. You hang an H on somebody in a game of horse on that one.
What a shot.
That is a deflator if you're Ole Miss. You're fighting your way back in this game. And then Miller goes near half court for a buzzer beater.
He's having fun right now.
Yeah.
And he could have taken that shot.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Pretty move that time, but Bradley, everything but the basket. Offensive rebound, Clowney.
And that's what I mean when I talk about smaller guards, right? Deshaun Ruffin was on the block trying to box out a big. That happens when you get to the next level. You switch on a screen, then you got to have a guard that's able to box out a big and secure the rebound. That's why I like this Alabama team.
Ruffin around the screen, whips it into the corner. A lot of pump fakes, and finally the shot up by Ewan, the 6'10" freshman out of Lawrenceville, Georgia. His first basket. And then a steal by Ruffin. Look out, a lot of trees. He kicks it out. That might have been a business decision as well. Ruffin on the 3.
Yeah, I think Bediako may have gotten a piece of that one.
Bediako, one of the top shot blockers in the SEC, averaging 2 a game. 2 minutes left to go. Alabama looking to improve to 7-0 at home. 12-2 overall. 2-0 in the SEC. And there's an exclamation point right there, an and one for Sears. How about the play here? First, Miller, desperation heave. Didn't have to sacrifice much form. Cracks a smile. And I think mom and dad, that's Daryl and Yolanda, yeah, they're happy about that. Why not?
Not sure if the students were talking about plans after or just complimenting what Brandon was doing, but they started screaming Miller time.
Miller time. Could be a little bit of both. Could be a little both.
That's their quote for him.
Ruffin fouls out of the game with 13 points. Yeah, that could mean a number of things for a lot of us out there.
Oh, man.
It's not closing time yet. Baseline jumper off the mark.
For the Rebels, you'd rather start off with Alabama and Tennessee than have to end up with Alabama and Tennessee. They know that they face 2 of the best in the SEC.
Now, they'll get it going. I like Kermit's roster. He's got a lot more to work with than he did a year ago. Much more physical team. But tonight, he just ran into a buzzsaw in Alabama.
Charles Bediako felt like he got pushed, I believe, on that play, and so does the crowd.
Caldwell out to Fagan on a triple.
Man, just got to get better looks than that, right?
Yeah.
Ole Miss has taken a ton of threes tonight.
Yeah, 2 for 22 from behind the arc.
That's just too much.
That's not the strength of their game. They came in shooting 31% from downtown. Fagan still feeling it. That's one thing Ole Miss has done. Rebound. Offensive rebounds tonight for Ole Miss. 18 now in total.
Well, that's a nice job of attacking the offensive glass. That's a positive that Coach Kermit Davis can take from this game. But, you know, he's going to figure it out. He's figured it out everywhere that he's been. He was the most feared coach by SEC coaches before he got to the league, and he'll figure it out for the Rebels.
A win over Michigan State as a 15 seed while at Middle Tennessee, then followed it up with another upset a year later against Minnesota. You see Alabama emptying the bench here as this game is all but over. The Tide about to put another win on the books.
Well, the Crimson Tide certainly came to work. They're clocked in. Coach Nate Oates told me at the shoot-around, I said, what's the keys, Coach? And he said, number one, we have to have defensive intensity. He said, if our guys can defend, we'll be in a position to win this basketball game. Long, athletic, and sometimes they don't play with that intensity. He said, number two, we have to defend the three. They did a fantastic job. You just mentioned those three-point numbers. And then number three, he said, take care of the basketball. And they've done a much better job.
To that point, just 7 turnovers on the night. And you know Ole Miss can turn you over, but Alabama has valued the basketball from start to finish. And when they do that, combined with the offense, combined with the length on defense, they are lethal. Final 20 seconds and change. Quinterly making his way back.
Alabama right now is what we would call a momentum stop, Mike. It's made a nice run, and we continue buying it.
Got the Quinterly brothers both on the floor right now. Morrell. And his three-point struggles continue. They started in game 1 against Tennessee. They have continued here tonight in Tuscaloosa, but nothing has been a struggle for Alabama in this ball game. 84-62 is your final score. The Tide now 2-0 in league play, 7-0 at home. Some final thoughts, Damian.
Well, great performance by Alabama. Look like they're trying to compete to win not only an SEC championship, but a nice national championship potentially. The Ole Miss Rebels face 2 of the better ones in the SEC. They'll have to continue to fight to get better.
And that's going to do it for us. For Damian Fishback and Alyssa Lang, I'm Mike Morgan saying good night from Tuscaloosa. The Tide win at 84-62 as we send it back to the studios. Here's Peter, Patrick, and Pat Bradley.
Hi, friends. Welcome in to SEC Now. We've got all the PBs, Pat Bradley, Peter Burns, and PY there, Patrick Young. Oh, we got to work on the sock game, my man. Come on. We got
to me. It's the New Year thing. I'm going to be bland. That's my thing.
There's nothing about you.
Yeah.
Look at that outfit. There's nothing bland about you, my friend.
Bland socks this year.
No. Look at that thing. All right, let's go ahead. Enough on fashion. Let's get you some hoops. That's what you came here for. And we had some great games over in Rupp Arena. LSU Tigers, Matt McMahon, and of course Coach Cal, ready to go in Rupp. We go straight to the second half. LSU trailing by 8. Trey Hannibal. Well, he's just been a force.
Back-to-back games, Trey Hannibal, yes, knows the league really well.
KJ Williams with a hand in his face. He called bank Patrick Young, right?
50% on the year so far. You can call whatever you want.
How about this? Call the move to Jacob Toppin. Wildcats leading by 4 and under 2 minutes to go. Xavier Wheeler, that little 1-2 punch. Pat Bradley was working.
Well, Xavier had 10 assists. Kentucky 18 overall, 9 for Xavier Wheeler, but that's just finding guys in their sweet spot.
LSU was trying to score fast. Cam Hayes couldn't hit it, but oh no. The dreaded 3-point foul.
Cardinal sin of basketball.
Hayes would go 3 for 3 for the line. So 3.4 seconds. Tigers trailing by 3. An opportunity off the design play. No.
You see who's guarding him? Casey Wallace guarding the big guy. He's their best defender, man.
Best defender in the SEC.
It was a big win for the big words there. 74 to 71. Wildcats were rolling. Here's Toppin and Coach Cal postgame.
Yeah, Oscar is such a major factor in the paint, so he leaves that kind of mid-range area open. So I just try to find my ways to get into the mid-range because I know my mid-range is knocked down.
Jacob, you guys have struggled a little bit in non-conference play, but we've seen this before from a Kentucky team. Where's the belief right now in you and your teammates?
Oh, well, our confidence is sky high right now. We're at a great point right now, and we're just going to keep getting better.
You being, I guess, more positive towards some of
That's not true. I don't know who told you that. No. What I told him is, I believe in you. And I'm holding you accountable, but you're capable of doing whatever you choose to do. But you got to believe in yourself. And I told him, not more positive, if you screw up, I'm just leaving it alone. So I'm not going to try to correct you in the game. We'll correct you after.
Listen, we're laughing right there. We heard the entire post-game press conference. Cal was feeling it. Pat, I mean, what was the biggest thing you took away from that?
Well, he's notoriously tough on his guys, and he says it. Not everybody can play at Kentucky. Not everybody can play for Coach Cal because he demands a lot, and if you don't show it to him, you might sit on the bench for the rest of the season. So that's where the question came from. And he told him, though, he's smart enough to understand, the pat on the back is about 6 inches from the kick in the rear. So he knows, he's a great psychologist. He understands when to push and then when to pull him in for a hug.
Well, he's made it pretty clear before this game that Jacob Toppin, Xavier Wheeler, Kason Wallace, and Oscar Sheway are going to get a majority of the minutes. I'm going to play them as much as possible because those are his guys that he can really count on with consistency, that seem to know what it takes right now. But, Coach Cal, he's had so many success. Since he's been in the league, he's had more players going to the draft, freshmen of the year. You name all the accolades. So he has the expectation and understanding what it takes to get there. I understand completely where he's coming from because he wants to get his guys there, but also it's going to take time.
But listen, go ahead.
Just add this because Oscar's the most consistent player in America.
19 and 16 tonight.
Kason Wallace is becoming the most consistent player. He's arguably Kentucky's best player, does everything. So guys like Jacob Toppin, who was 9 of 13, Patrick, what I love Jacob tonight, he's understanding how to get his shots, where his strengths are.
Yeah.
Let the game come to him, not forcing things. He only shot 1 3. Play around the rim. That's his best offense right there. We see him, and he's more dedicated to that.
Patrick, real quick, what did you make of the conversation Coach Cal saying these guys are scrimmaging more than he's ever scrimmaged with the team? What does that mean as far as trying to build this camaraderie or what?
Yeah, I mean, when you have the transfer portal situation, I guess the scenarios that we have now where every single team is going to be different, up and coming, and it's every season, you have to figure out how to get guys to understand how to play against each other, play with each other, how to compete, what your role is, how you can fit in. So whatever he has to do to get that to accelerate, because how much more time is there left to the season? You only get one of this year. You got to make the most of it.
They needed that win. Of course, they got a monster game going into Tuscaloosa for Alabama. Speaking of the Crimson Tide, they were in action as well over there in T-Town. Let's show you highlights against the Ole Miss Rebels. And there he is, stud, Brandon Miller. We'll see some highlights from him, but it was Riley Griffin early, knocking down the 3.
Bama. 4 minutes, Griffin, because of Burnett's injury.
Rolling at this point, Mark Sears dials one from way downtown, bang. Later in the first half, though, how about this? This is my favorite play of the day. Brandon Miller watches behind the back with the dime. Give me the ooh. Give me the ooh.
Wait, he's got handles, court awareness, and athleticism. It's not fair.
Complete.
Good-looking kid as well, too. Probably worth more than me and all of us combined.
Right now.
Right now. Next trip down the floor for Ole Miss, Javon Quinterly says, give me that. Tied in transition, and Miller just...
Waved the red flag. Excuse me.
Floated.
Andale.
Unbelievable.
He does. He's such a smooth game. His jump shot, his smooth transitions into it.
Would you like to see more of Brandon Miller?
See, right there. Under control, little hesitation. What's the defense giving me? How can you go under on Brandon Miller?
One more? No.
Stop.
No. Okay, just shut it down. That's the end of the highlight. Just stop it. Cut it right there.
Wow.
Cliff, put it to bed. And that's what they did. 84-62. Just a monster win for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Looking good. We wondered with Alabama as well, too. Like, hey, how for real that they were going to be. They look every bit of the part. What makes them special tonight that stood out?
In general, what they've shown every single game is their toughness. As a team, every single game from start to finish, completing the game. They haven't had spouts where the only game you look at against Gonzaga, they couldn't figure out ways to limit Gonzaga getting into the paint. But tonight they defended the three extremely well, got up and down on the court, distributed the ball well. Play great basketball around.
2 of 24. That's what Ole Miss had beyond the arc. When you look at Alabama right now, this is not the three-point shooting team that we've seen in years past, right?
But they can shoot it. Yeah. And they don't have to, though. They don't have to rely on that. The depth on this team, the height, they have great length, great height. That's why they're great rim protectors. Brandon Miller right there, I mean, that's just, close your eyes and throw it up there. I don't know how often he practices that shot. As impressed as I am, Brandon Miller. Apologies. But what they have is great length for rim protection. They've got speed. They've got depth. Jaden Brad, think of this. Javon Quinterly, who has been their best over the last few years, has been their best point guard. He's not 100%, still coming back from his knee injury. Insert Jaden Bradley, freshman, who has taken the reins and run this team the way you want a veteran to run it. Noah Clowney, freshman, is giving you everything, shoots the three. And so they've got great youth, they've got great veteran guys. The depth is incredible, their defense is great. You know they're going to score. Just a matter of if their defense is going to show up.
And taking care of the basketball.
They take care of that. Multiple
But other than
guys
that, they don't do a whole lot of things well at that point.
Rebound,
Monster
long
matchup,
shots.
remember, coming up against Kentucky over in Tuscaloosa on Saturday. All right, we got a lot more coming up on the game, including, by the way, SEC is playing for another national championship. We'll learn a little bit more about the Horned Frogs coming up next on Now.
You call your agent with a simple question, only to get sent to voicemail again. We pick up the phone. I should get this. Hello, this is Sam. How can I help you? Yes, I'm glad I'm not a robot too. Like I said, we pick up the phone because it's ringing. That's simple human sense. Ask your independent agent if auto owners make sense for you. Hello, this is Sam.
In SEC sports, the ifs are non-stop. If you're game day ready. If your team can win on the road. If that three-pointer beats the buzzer. If you love the tradition, the rivalry, the edge of your seat action on and off the court, we're right there with you. As the official bank of the SEC.
Sorry. We just can't happy with the F's in sports. Ratings helps you embrace the F.
Let's talk money on Monday.
On a confrontational Fansville by Dr. Pepper.
Oh, what's up, guys?
We want to talk to you about State not making the playoff.
Yeah, tough season, but I'm fine.
That's just it. You're not taking it hard enough.
What? I'm upset. Why haven't you posted one insane rant on the message boards? I keep reliving the Southern game over and over. It's just a game. A bunch of kids with the ball. Put down that Dr. Pepper. Maybe there's more to life.
No! He lost it!
Dr. Pepper, the one fans deserve.
You can feel confident Continental is the smart choice in tires.
And to handle extremes?
Yep. Tested from the Texas desert to near the Arctic Circle.
Really?
Really.
Anything for the guy who finds that one pothole?
Yeah. Road hazard coverage has your back.
For real?
Absolutely.
Were they made by like a bajillion engineers?
Well, closer to 100. Continental. Welcome to the smart choice in tires.
Insurance? Well, the countdown continues to the Natty. Georgia looking for back-to-back titles. Of course, they'll face TCU coming up on Monday. The great Gene Wojciechowski was in Fort Worth to catch up with the underdog Horned Frog.
If you keep track of these sort of things, you'll remember TCU was a 7.5-point underdog to Michigan in the college football playoff semifinals. TCU won, and the experts were so impressed, they made TCU nearly a 14-point underdog to Georgia in the national championship game. But that's okay. TCU is used to being underestimated and overlooked.
It's like anything else, so I enjoy that role of, that role of having to wake up every day and go earn it. And I think it's good for our players. I mean, that's kind of the way life is.
Oh, they're legit, dude. They're really good. But I mean, heck, dude, who's not at this point? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody, you're going to play at this point. Everybody's going to be good. Everybody's going to have NFL guys all across the board. And, it's a challenge for us, but why not? To be the best, you got to beat the best. So bring it on, right?
Once an underdog, always an underdog. TCU is picked to finish 7th in the Big 12 preseason poll. Quarterback Max Duggan remembers those predictions and said he chose to ignore them. Now Duggan and the Horned Frogs get another chance to prove everyone wrong. And now with the Georgia Bulldogs, let's go to Mark Schleybaugh.
Thanks, Gene. On Monday night, Georgia will attempt to become the first team in the college football playoff era to win back-to-back national championships. The last team to do it, Alabama in 2012. Bulldogs coach Kirby Smart was a defensive coordinator on that team. On Tuesday, he told us why it's so difficult to repeat.
I know how hard it is to do because there's a lot of times we didn't do it, if you know what I'm saying. We did it once, but while we were there, we won 4 and we're only able to repeat once. It's really hard to do because human nature is to relax. And when people pat you on the back, human nature is to say, I'm good, I've done a good job. And, we won it last year, let's take a year off. I also had the great fortune of having a really good team last year, and our staff and our organization did such a good job with that team, but we lost all of them. So it was like starting over. So the motivation job was probably not as hard as most repeats are.
Smart told anyone who would listen this summer that Georgia was built to sustain and wasn't a one-hit wonder. He believed Georgia would be a good team this season, but wasn't sure it was championship caliber. On Monday night, he'll find out.
Can't wait for that game on Monday night. Until then, we got some hoops to keep you covered. And how about Stack looking good in that suit? Oh my goodness, not as good as Gigi Jackson on that second chance dunk. Scores from everywhere on the floor. Behind three-point line and at the rim. Liam Robbins assists Jordan Wright making the three-point jumper. Vanderbilt leading 30-26. We go to the second half right now. How about a little defense turning into some offense? Vandy getting back into that game. Then, under 5 minutes to go, Wright gets it out to Mannion. Well, he's got some nice little touch here, Patrick Young.
Always got some great touch in that mid-range. Such a great pace as well.
Vandy ties it up at 61. Few seconds left in the second half. How about this? South Carolina has the ball, trails by 2. Mitchie Johnson misses it. Pat, just chaos.
35-footer to the top of the key and then down where it should be.
Hey, Peyton Brown makes it.
Hard to guard.
Yeah. Bonus basketball, but right inside the paint. Gets the defender to get up.
Stay down, GG.
Goes in the bank. It's always open. Then, once again,
look at that logo.
Jumper. Vanderbilt wins 83-79, 64 points off the bench for the Doors. Right, staying in the state, Mississippi State taking on 8th-ranked Tennessee Volunteers. And Santiago Vescovi said, I might just do it myself tonight.
But that's way too go under the screen. Santa just walks into a top of the key three-point shot. That was a little deeper, but from the second E in Tennessee.
How far can he go? How about 16-0? Almost hits the skunk roll, which I don't think exists. But Tennessee started 6 of 8 from the field, 4 of 5 from three-point land. And meanwhile, State struggle busing a little bit. It wasn't just Vescovi, Patrick Young. How about Tyreek Key?
Tyreek Key, one of the top transfers in the SEC.
Does it feel like just all of a sudden it's contagious beyond the arc? Right, for these teams?
Oh, absolutely. Well, when one guy starts making it down, now the defense scrambles, right? And now you attack the paint, like Zakai does there, drops it off to an easy 2.
Balls up 38-14 at that point. We haven't seen a whole lot of Triple J this season. Josiah Jordan-James, how about that? Big steal, gets the slam. Remember, he had missed 8 of the 13 games, Patrick. It's tough coming back from that knee injury.
Yeah, it's tough coming back from that knee injury, but good to see him finding his rhythm, getting back in the groove. They're going to really need him and his shooting to win a national championship this year.
The guy getting in the action. Having some fun, and rightfully so. They all should. 11 points, 10 assists for him. Vols make it look extremely easy. 87 to 53. All right, so how good was that shooting? Well, I would say pretty awesome. Fourth best, not just in conference play, right? We're talking in the history of program, of that proud program. Fourth best. How about 1982? 75% for the field for Ole Miss.
I want to see that tape.
I was going to say, I don't think it's in high def. We'll put it that way. Mississippi State struggling a little bit right now, Pat Bradley, but coming again, this was a defensive-minded team, and then Tennessee did that? How?
Well, first of all, Mississippi State, their first two games of the SEC, Alabama, Tennessee. Oh, good luck, okay? 28 assists by Tennessee. Rick Barnes' offense is predicated on ball movement, play movement, hard cuts, hard screens, and things will open up. You saw that Tennessee started out making some threes, and what that does now, Mississippi State's defense, now we got to come up and defend the three-point line. Zakai Ziegler gets in the lane, draws the defense, kicks out for threes. It was extremely impressive. We know Tennessee can do that. First game of the year, they shot 43s, 12 of 21 tonight. They just show you when they're clicking offensively, how they can score the ball efficiently.
24 straight home wins for them. For Mississippi State right now, what gives?
Well, it's no surprise for them. They have to know, it's obvious that they're struggling offensively to find some consistency. Tolo Smith, he's been a little bit up and down. Shaquille Moore, one of the top returners, has been up and down. DJ Jeffers as well. But it's really difficult to win when you can't make shots. You're not a great three-point shooting team, and then you get dominated on the boards. Only 9 defensive rebounds in this game tonight for Mississippi State. It's not the end of the world. Their defense does travel, but they're going to have to find some ways to make some offense come.
The worst.
Shows you how good Tennessee was shooting the ball.
Yeah.
Mississippi State averages 25 defensive rebounds a game. They only got 9.
Unreal.
Yeah, because they're all going in.
It led to the worst conference loss they've had since 2005. A bounce-back game now for Ole Miss and Mississippi State coming up on Saturday. All right, just in case you've been locked into football, and you're like, all right, SEC basketball, conference play, what's going on? We got your program guide coming up next here on SEC Now.
Academy Sports and Outdoors is here for everyone who loves to get out there and have some fun. And with the best brands in the game, we've got what you need to play your way. Shop on the app and pick up in-store today. Have fun out there with Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Gatorade Fit. Fitness starts from the inside out. Get healthy, real hydration and no added sugar, artificial sweeteners, or added colors. Gatorade Fit. Healthy, real hydration today helps you fuel tomorrow.
Nice. What? With the Game Time app, I pay 60% less than this guy. 60%? Game Time finds you the best last-minute deals and guarantees the lowest price. Download Game Time now. Nice shirt.
Man, we love our SEC family.
It's great passion, it's great tradition, it's a culture. The best thing in college football, period.
This game right here.
It's really good. It looks amazing. Today is the day I'm back for life.
Hey, can we get a replay on that?
Do you listen to the TV on high volume or have trouble hearing conversations? Then you would benefit from hearing aids. Don't waste thousands on expensive hearing aids when you can get Nano's revolutionary technology for just $297. Don't be fooled by higher-priced hearing aids. The CIC Recharge is a true hearing aid, not an amplifier. With rechargeable technology many customers say is superior to more expensive models. Call now and get not 1, but 2 Nano hearing aids for just $297. Plus, we'll add a portable charging case and ship your order absolutely free. The CIC Recharge has a tiny in-the-ear canal design that is nearly invisible. Why keep missing out on important conversations or waste thousands of dollars? Call and get 2 CIC Recharge hearing aids for only $297 and free shipping.
800-256-2957. Again, that's 800-256-2957.
Welcome back to the SEC Now. I love this job so much in basketball. I'm going to be here tomorrow night. We've got Auburn and Georgia.
I'll be there.
You'll be in Arkansas. Good. I didn't want you being here anyway.
20
I hope Patrick's here.
Just fish. I'm keeping the seat warm for fish.
Top 20 matchup is going to be awesome.
Warm for me.
All right, welcome in football fans, right? I know we got the daddy on Monday, but we got the SEC basketball fan guide. Just in case you don't remember what's been going on. Hey, listen, you got New Year's, holiday, you're returning gifts, all of it, okay? We're going to get you caught up right now. Right now. When we start looking at the bigger tier, the upper echelon, the best of the best.
Creme de la creme.
I like that.
Yeah.
The cream
How many
top.
teams and which teams are on that list?
So I've got 3 right now. I'm talking Final 4 good.
Okay.
Alabama, Tennessee, Arkansas. Kentucky maybe could get there. But what those 3 teams have in common, they're great defensively. Tennessee, best in the country. Arkansas, top 10. Alabama, top 15 in the country defensively. And also what they have, Alabama has a breakthrough player. Brandon Miller can create his own shot. Jaden Bradley's also becoming that type of player. And Arkansas has, yes, young, but extremely talented players. Anthony Black, Ricky Council, that can score for you.
All right, so 3 contenders. All right, so let's talk coaching right now. A lot of the brand new faces here in this conference. Which one of these coaches has done the best job so far?
Well, for you fans that don't know, there's 6 new head coaches in the SEC. Mike White coming from Florida to Georgia, but the one that, in my opinion, that has performed the best thus far has to be none other than Dennis Gates, coming from Cleveland State last year, and to come to a new program in a new conference, to do what he's done at this level so far, 88 points a game for this Missouri team. Yes, they had one loss against Kansas that is, I'm going to say that was an outlier, but thus far they've been playing on another level. They defend well, they score the ball. Kobe Brown is shooting 45% from 3. Barely shot any 3-pointers at all last year.
Yeah.
And he has a chance to make history as well.
Yeah, that would be, 30 points in 3 straight ranked wins, something that has been done the last 25 years against, Steph Curry did it back in the day. I mean, what is it about his game and Kobe Brown wasn't doing this in the past. Is it the offense with Dennis Gates is making this run?
Well, D'Moy Hodge, when you bring a point guard from the previous system that understands you can bring that continuity for you, he can open up a game for a star. The fact that he was able to convince Kobe Brown to stay when everyone else jumped ship shows that he is a guy that really believed in what he could. He saw the vision of who Kobe Brown could be, and we're seeing it ourselves right now.
Kobe Brown, in I think his 19th year of eligibility right there. He's a little bit of a super senior in Como. All right, how about Fab Freshman? SEC freshman that stood out to you, Pat?
We got a lot of great freshmen, okay? Casey Walls, Kentucky, Arkansas, Anthony Black, Nick Smith, Jordan Walsh, Gigi Jackson, South Carolina, but the brightest star of them all is in Alabama. Brandon Miller leads the SEC in scoring. He is the solution. Whenever Nate Oates is like, what do we got to drop a play for who? That guy right there, Brandon Miller, he's so smooth, gets into his jump shot as smooth. It's 6'9", as smooth as any player we have in college basketball. He's a really good defender, shot blocker, 6'9" freshman. He's been the torch bearer for the young.
So smooth right
so
now
very
as well too, and it's tough right now because we see this in football and all the sports. There's a lot of guys that are trying to get their team together, new faces, new players, and the transfer portal is monster. Who's been that transfer portal player that has stood up to you?
So we were talking about this earlier, and it was difficult for me to decide, but Pat Bradley had the deciding factor. Ricky Council, the fourth.
Of course he was going to politic for an Arkansas Razorback.
He made a fantastic point. KJ Williams has been fantastic, but he was the OVC Player of the Year last year with Murray State. Ricky Council was the sixth man on the with the Shockers, Wichita State, and he has come in, and nobody expected. All the talk for Arkansas was the 3 freshmen, the 3 freshmen, the 3 freshmen. Ricky Council started off the must-bust train, I guess you would say, for Arkansas early on, and he has been sensational. He's been all conference.
I was going to say, and that's something that Muss has been doing ever since he got to this conference, even before the transfer portal was as big as it is now. He's found a way to make that work. How does he get it done?
Well, they identify what type of players are going to succeed in their system. And I think you could take a transfer, but the issue is you don't recruit those guys for 2 years. It's 1 month. So you got to be selective, and you got to figure out how is this guy going to fit in our system. He's allowed Ricky Council to handle the ball a lot more. Everyone thought this guy's just a slasher. But Ricky has shown that he can actually be a playmaker with the ball, high ball screen.
Him and Nick Smith Jr. together.
When they're healthy, right?
They're healthy,
I mean, that's the one thing. And I think the style of play there in Fayetteville is also a reason why a lot of people want to come up there. The fans in Bud Walton Arena, it's a great place to live. Look at that. You got me politicking here. I'm spending way too much time with you right now. All right, big
Red
picture
shoes.
takeaways. Well, I'm not going to go with the red shoes. Trust me, that's not going to happen. When you talk big picture takeaway, what have you seen so far early in the season? What do fans need to know?
Well, you've tuned in just in time. For those of you that are still kind of locked into football, I understand it was a fantastic season. We got another SEC team with opportunity to do something that hasn't been done in a long time, to repeat. But right now for the SEC, it's wide open.
Yeah, oh, yes,
It's
sir.
wide. It's early. We're 2 games in. It's anybody. I don't say it's anybody's game. Look at this upper echelon right now. But I would not count Missouri out. Obviously, Alabama, Arkansas, Tennessee. I won't count Auburn out as well. When Auburn, a team that really can get it up and going, when they're hot, they can beat anybody in the league.
I was going to say, the fact that you just went, 7 teams deep before you even got to Big Blue Nation, Wildcat fans were probably throwing the remote control at that point. But to your point, it is up for grabs. What else are you taking from it?
Well, consider this, football fans, and just tuning in. We've had 8 SEC teams that have been in the AP Top 25. So it shows you throughout the conference just how deep it is. This projected could be 8 teams in the NCAA tournament, how things will shake out. So the depth in this league is incredible. And we've got 3 that can go to the Final Four. If Kentucky puts it together, because they do have the talent, they've just had struggles to score. If they can do that, now you throw another one in the mix. So it's incredible depth. We always... Damian Fishback taught us well. We try to get 14 in, but
we try.
He's trying to get 16 teams in, and Texas and Oklahoma haven't even entered in right now.
He wants to get 5 into the Final Four. I don't know how that's going to be possible.
Overall, right now, if you had to say what team you want to see take that next jump, that's struggling right now, that has the talent, just hasn't figured it out.
It's certainly Kentucky. I think everybody would assume that they were the preseason pick to win the conference. Okay, and right now you look at it. You mentioned Missouri. A week ago, Mississippi State was playing well. They play against the top 2 teams in the league. So there's a lot of movement still that's going to happen in the next couple of weeks in this league.
Well, selfishly, I have to say I want to see Kentucky, and it's only because of Oscar Sheba. I mean, how can you not cheer for that kid? Come back as a national, trying to repeat history, being the second. How long has it been since the National Player of the Year has returned and done it all?
Been a while. Thanks for watching us here. SEC Now. Friends, welcome in to SEC Now. We've got all the PBs, Pat Bradley, Peter Burns, and PY there, Patrick Young. Oh, we got to work in the sock game, my man. Come on. We got
me. It's the New Year thing. I'm going to be bland. That's my thing.
There is nothing about you. Look at that outfit. There's nothing bland about you, my friend.
Bland socks this year.
No, look at that thing. All right, let's go ahead. Enough on fashion. Let's get you some hoops. That's what you came here for. And we had some great games over in Rupp Arena. LSU Tigers, Matt McMahon, and of course Coach Cal ready to go in Rupp. We go straight to the second half. LSU trailing by 8. Trey Hannibal. Well, he's just been a force.
Back-to-back games, Trey Hannibal, knows the league really well.
KJ Williams with a hand in his face. He called bank Patrick Young, right?
50% on the year so far. He can call whatever he wants.
How about this? Call the move to Jacob Toppin. Wildcats leading by 4 and under 2 minutes to go. Xavier Wheeler, that little 1-2 punch. Pat Bradley was working.
Well, Xavier had 10 assists. Kentucky, 18 overall. 9 for Xavier Wheeler. But that's just finding guys in their sweet spot.
LSU was trying to score fast. Cam Hayes couldn't hit it, but oh no. The dreaded 3-point foul.
Cardinal sin of basketball.
Hayes would go 3 for 3 for the line. So 3.4 seconds. Tigers trailing by 3. An opportunity off the design play. No.
You see who's guarding him? Casey Wallace guarding a big guy. He's their best defender, man.
Best defender in the SEC.
It was a big win for the big words there. 74 to 71. Wildcats were rolling. Here's Toppin and Coach Cal post game.
Yeah, Oscar is such a such a major factor in the paint, so he leaves that kind of mid-range area open. So I just try to find my ways to get into the mid-range because I know my mid-range is knocked down.
Jacob, you guys have struggled a little bit in non-conference play, but we've seen this before from a Kentucky team. Where's the belief right now in you and your teammates?
Oh, well, our confidence is sky high right now. We're at a great point right now, and we're just going to keep getting better.
You being, I guess, more positive towards some of...
That's not true. I don't know who told you that. No. What I told him is, I believe in you. And I'm holding you accountable, but you're capable of doing whatever you choose to do. But you got to believe in yourself. And I told him, not more positive, if you screw up, I'm just leaving it alone. So I'm not going to try to correct you in the game. We'll correct you after.
Listen,
That's
we're laughing
great.
right there. We heard the entire post-game press conference. Cal was feeling it. Pat, I mean, what was the biggest thing you took away from that?
Well, he's notoriously tough on his guys, and he says it. Not everybody can play at Kentucky. Not everybody can play for Coach Cal because he demands a lot, and if you don't show it to him, you might sit on the bench for the rest of the season. So that's where the question came from, and he told him, though, he's smart enough to understand, you know, the pat on the back is about 6 inches from the kick in the rear. So he knows, he's a great psychologist. He understands when to push and then when to pull him in for a hug.
Well, he's made it pretty clear before this game that Jacob Toppin, Xavier Wheeler, Kason Wallace, and Oscar Sheway are going to get a majority of the minutes. I'm going to play them as much as possible because those are his guys that he can really count on with consistency, that seem to know what it takes right now. But, you know, Coach Cal, he's had so many success. Since he's been in the league, he's had more players going to the draft, freshmen of the year, you name all the accolades. So he has the expectation and understanding what it takes to get there. I understand completely where he's coming from because he wants to get his guys there, but also he gets it's going to take time.
But listen, go ahead.
Just add this because Oscar's the most consistent player in America.
19 and 16 tonight.
Kason Wallace is becoming the most consistent player. He's arguably Kentucky's best player, does everything. So guys like Jacob Toppin, who was 9 of 13, Patrick, what I love Jacob tonight, he's understanding how to get his shots, where his strengths are.
Yeah.
Let the game come to him, not forcing things. He only shot 1 3. Play around the rim. That's his best offense right there. We see him, and he's more dedicated to that.
Patrick, real quick, what did you make of the conversation Coach Cal saying these guys are scrimmaging more than he's ever scrimmaged with the team? What does that mean as far as trying to build this camaraderie or what?
Yeah, I mean, when you have the transfer portal situation, I guess the scenarios that we have now where every single team is going to be different, up and coming, and it's every season, you have to figure out how to get guys to understand how to play against each other, play with each other, how to compete, what your role is, how you can fit in. So whatever he has to do to get that to accelerate, because how much more time is there left to the season? You only get one of this year. You got to make the most of it.
They needed that win. Of course, they got a monster game going into Tuscaloosa for Alabama. Speaking of the Crimson Tide, they were in action as well over there in T-Town. Let's show you highlights against the Ole Miss Rebels. And there he is, stud, Brandon Miller. We'll see some highlights from him, but it was Riley Griffin early knocking down the 3.
Bama. 4 minutes, Griffin, because of Burnett's injury.
Rolling at this point. Mark Sears dials one from way downtown. Bang. Later in the first half, though, how about this? This is my favorite play of the day. Brandon Miller watches behind the back with the dime. Give me the ooh. Give me the ooh.
Wait, he's got handles, court awareness, and athleticism. It's not fair.
Complete.
Good-looking kid as well, too. Probably worth more than me and all of us combined.
Right now.
Right now. Next trip down the floor for Ole Miss, Javon Quinterly says, give me that. Tied in transition, and Miller just...
He's waved the red flag. Excuse me.
Floated.
Andale.
Unbelievable.
He does. He's such a smooth game. His jump shot, just smooth transitions into it.
Would you like to see more of Brandon Miller?
See, right there. Under control, little hesitation. What's the defense giving me? How can you go under on Brandon Miller?
One more? No.
Stop.
No. Okay, just shut it down. That's the end of the highlight. Just stop it. Cut it right there.
Wow.
Cliff, put it to bed. And that's what they did. 84-62. Just a monster win for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Looking good. We wondered with Alabama as well, too. Like, hey, how for real that they were going to be They look every bit of the part. What makes them special tonight that stood out?
In general, what they've shown every single game is their toughness. As a team, every single game from start to finish, completing the game. They haven't had spouts where the only game you look at against Gonzaga, they couldn't figure out ways to limit Gonzaga getting into the paint. But tonight, they defended the three extremely well, got up and down on the court, distributed the ball well, played great basketball around.
2 of 24. That's what Ole Miss had beyond the arc. When you look at Alabama right now, this is not the three-point shooting team that we've seen in years past, right?
But they can shoot it. Yeah. And they don't have to, though. They don't have to rely on that. The depth on this team, the height, they have great length, great height. That's why they're great rim protectors. Brandon Miller right there, I mean, that's just, close your eyes and throw it up there. I don't know how often he practices that shot. As impressed as I am, Brandon Miller. Apologies. But what they have is great length to rim protection. They've got speed. They've got depth. Jaden Brad, think of this. Javon Quinterly, who has been their best over the last few years, has been their best point guard. He's not 100%, still coming back from his knee injury. Insert Jaden Bradley, freshman, who has taken the reins and run this team the way you want a veteran to run it. Noah Clowney, freshman, has given you everything, shoots the three. And so they've got great youth, they've got great veteran guys. The depth is incredible, their defense is great. You know they're going to score. Just a matter of if their defense is going to show up.
And taking care of the basketball.
They take care of the multiple.
But other than
guys
that, they don't do a whole lot of things well at that point.
Rebound,
Monster
block
matchup,
shots.
remember, coming up against Kentucky over in Tuscaloosa on Saturday. All right, we got a lot more coming up on the game, including, by the way, SEC is playing for another national championship. We'll learn a little bit more about the Horned Frogs coming up next on that.